straight out of uni, to be honest. So I've been playing for Team Northumbria in the Northern League for a few years. Obviously played with Louis down there. I think Louis was one of the first guys to come over here with the sort of the new regime. And he just sort of gave me a call with Sam Reid, who came at the time. We both came from Team Northumbria. Went up to a game, I think it was a pre-season game, Seaton Delville maybe, or somewhere like that. Seaton Carew, something like that, just some low league team. That was the first pre-season game I played. And then yeah, just went on from there. So I think we won about 9-1 that day or something like that, and then yeah, carried on from there.
You mentioned obviously that sort of how did that kind of go for you? Because obviously we faced West Auckland in the Vars. Obviously had a good run in the league. How did that kind of look for you?
Yeah, it was fairly good, to be fair. There was a lot of chopping and changing in terms of personnel that year, because it's obviously, like I say, the first year under the new sort of regime, new management, new owners and things. So there was a lot of lads coming in, a few left and then came back on, and then a few came in. So I think I played centre mid, right back, a few different positions, but I think a few lads did the same. So I was a little bit in and out of the team that year, I think, to be honest. But then by the end, I think I was playing fairly regularly. But it was just sort of a bit of a consolidation year that year. I think just trying to get a bit of a squad together. And by the end of the year, we looked like or after Christmas, we looked like a fairly decent side. So yeah.
You mentioned obviously Louis, Army and Mitchie as well. Luke Sullivan as well, etc. Just what were kind of the players that you enjoyed playing with the most, really, and you felt you learned a lot from? Yeah,
all those lads you just mentioned there, to be fair. Like I said, Lou was a great captain for the year he was here, led the lads really well, but then you've got like Graham, Mitchie, Sully, people like that coming in that have played a lot higher, especially Graham. Played a lot higher, played at all different levels for different teams, played in different played in Scotland as well. Scored goals everywhere. So it's just people like that, you just pick up different things off different people, whether it's sort of a mentality thing, how they approach the game, or stuff they do in the game, things like that. So it was good to get a good chance to come and play with players like that. Yeah.
End of that season then, obviously, Scott departing. What was the mood kind of like then? Because I know you finished second in the league, didn't you? So what was that kind of like?
I think as players, mate, to be honest, I think you just get on with it. There's not a lot we can do about that. It's up to the club and the managers to sort that out. We had a fairly decent season that year, and then we kicked on again. But I think obviously the change in management probably helped that a little bit. Kev and Mick have come in and sort of imposed their ideas on the lads. We've reacted well to it, but I think as well we got better just from having played together more. There's a lot of factors involved, and I think we started to get settled a little bit there, and then from there we kicked on properly.
Now I realise the kind of end of the 1920 season, a lot of achievements, but at the start of the season, what were the actual kind of aims? Were you focusing on Vars? Were you focusing on the league?
I think at the start there was a bit of an emphasis on we wanted to do well in some of the cups. I think the club wanted to do well in the Durham Challenge as well as the Vars, and then obviously get promoted as well. We just missed out on the promotion that year, I think, didn't we? But yeah, obviously the Vars run, we didn't do quite as well in the Durham Challenge, but then once we got knocked out of that, it was 2 or 3 rounds in, I think, the sort of focus sort of switched to the Vars then, whilst also trying to maintain as high a place as we could in the league. I think we ended up about 4th or something like that year. But yeah, the Vars were obviously fantastic, but then COVID comes in it and ruins it a bit, I suppose, but we got there in the end anyway, so.
Oh, gone? Yeah! Get it! Yeah! Well done, Red! Score? I think it was
one of those sort of best moments in football, to be honest, mate, not even just at Hebburn. Massive game, quarter-final of Vars. At the time, was the biggest game I'd played in, probably, I would have said. And then, target, we probably should have been 2 or 3 up, really, in that game anyway, and then went to extra time, again with a better side in extra time, and then I think it was like 116, 117 minutes or something I scored that, so yeah, it was mad. And then the Hebburn fans behind the goal just went and jumped in there, so yeah, it was a good moment, that, to be fair, yeah, really good.
Obviously COVID, as you mentioned, comes in. What was the mood kind of like in the camp overall? Because the Vars runs halted, you don't know what's going to happen, don't know what's happening with the league. Was it all looking towards the future, or you just was there a bit of you that thought that everything's going to kind of get chucked out the window?
It was annoying, to be honest, because like you say, in the back of your mind you're thinking, Christ, what if it gets cancelled? That would have been the worst thing ever. Having gone through the sort of like ups and downs of the Vars run and the elation and winning the semi-final, like you don't know if it's going to happen, when it's going to happen, things like that. And then if finally obviously it got confirmed that it was going to go ahead, but then with no fans, that's a little bit of a letdown as well, which would have been brilliant for all the fans to see the lads play at Wembley. But yeah, like you say, it was just sort of keeping your fingers crossed that it was going to go ahead, and thankfully it did, and the rest is history, as they say, I suppose. Just like I say, just absolute elation. Relief more than anything, I think. I think I was more nervous, and the lads were probably more nervous for the semi-final than the actual final itself, because I think it's a bigger, not a bigger prize, but there's so much on the line playing at Wembley. When you go to the final, obviously you want to win, but if you don't win, then you've still played at Wembley. But if you lose in the semi-final, you might never get a chance to play at Wembley again. So I think for me, some of the other lads, Louis and that, had played in semi-finals and finals before of the Vars, but that would have been my first one. So I was more nervous for the semi than the final, but like you say, as soon as that kid plays that ball over, we were all absolutely buzzing.
Needs to get teammates in there, and it's going to go through to Richardson. You get the jump in. He's got the great goal.
Do you think you could have, made Wembley a second time?
Yeah, we could have done. I think it just came, that Rylands game, the second Rylands game came just too soon after the Wembley final. I think it was, obviously, once we got home, so it was like 4 days between, so you've got to then like come down from like being absolutely buzzing after the Wembley final. It's not just recover physically, but recover mentally, because even though we won, it's still like very mentally sort of tiring day, and then obviously the week after, a bit of celebration as well. So there's a lot to recover from, so I think it came just a little bit too quick. Maybe if we'd have had another week to prepare for it. We're on a good run of form, obviously. So yeah, disappointing, because that would have been good to be the first team to be playing at Wembley twice in 1 year, but yeah, unfortunately it didn't go that way. But
just going into the specifics of Wembley then, the night before, just what's going through your head?
Just, I hope I don't make a fool of myself on telly, to be fair. But no, you just want to put everything we've put into work on the training pitch into the game, really. Take everything we've talked about in there, and we knew if we did that, we'd more than likely win the game if we got a bit of the rub of the green like we did a little bit. But yeah, it's just like a little bit of nerves, but then excitement, really. It's like you just have to try and think about the excitement of playing at Wembley and stuff, and not really think about the nerves, which I think I managed to do, to be fair. I thought I'd be a lot more nervous than I was. Like I said, more nervous for the semi-final than the actual final, and then just getting it, you just got to enjoy the day. That's what I took from it, you just got to enjoy it, because you might never get a chance to go back again. So yeah, it was just unbelievable, just fantastic. Yeah.
Obviously behind closed doors, and I presume you would have a few family etc. watching on the telly. But when Ollie goes in on the 83rd minute, just any obviously you see the net ball, what's going through your head?
Yeah, just I think by that time, like you say, about 83, 84 minutes, something like that, you're just absolutely knackered. It is a bigger pitch than you think, because you don't think football pitch can get much bigger, but that is massive, that pitch, to be fair. So by then your legs are starting to go a little bit, and you're thinking, crash, somebody just score. So again, massive relief, and then just elation when the final whistle goes. But like you say, people watching at home, a couple of us luckily enough managed to get a couple of tickets for family members in the sponsors that couldn't go in the box. So my dad was guess where water couldn't, my dad, so he was up there. So that was good, really good. But yeah, like I say, just absolute elation.
How have you kind of found settling down in the Northern Premier League?
I think the shaky start wasn't helped by us losing 4 or 5 massive sort of key players. Not just key players, but voices in the dressing room. We obviously lost our captain Louis. Once the gate said Graham's retired. Mick McEwen's done his ACL. Loffy played a few games, then we lost him to he's got a hernia. Groves, he was injured for a bit. So obviously Hebburn as well, so that's our 2 top goal scorers from last year being snapped away from us. So there was a lot of change at the start of the season. So I think both individually and collectively it was quite challenging. But I think it's taken a lot of time for us to sort of get settled with the lads that have come in, gel together a little bit, and I think now we're actually starting to see the work we're putting in the training pitch coming through. Like, we're playing some good stuff, we're getting the results we deserve, because we were playing some decent stuff before and not getting the results as well, but I think a lot of that was a little bit of naivety. There's not much, for obviously the more quality in this league, there's probably less football played, and we obviously like to try and play football, but we're playing ourselves into trouble a little bit, and I think we've learned that we need to sort of mix it up a little bit and be a bit more direct, and then sort of earn the right to play football, really get up the pitch, get in their half and then play the football in their half, which was the difference in the second half today. First half we were very sloppy, and then the second half we sort of went back to what we were doing before, get up the pitch and then get the ball down in their half, and I think that's been the story of the season. When we do that, we look good and we score goals. So.